This is Jonathan Agger of Fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Adam Smith for the first time in 2025. Adam, Happy New Year. How was your Christmas?
Very good Christmas, thank you. Lovely. Around the family, we had a trip out to Malta, which was nice over New Year, and back raring to go with some different projects, and excited about fights like this, nights like this. All starts on Saturday, really. I guess Callum Simpson, who I'm very fond of, is in action. We got the Ring Magazine Awards that night as well. Busy times. Jaya Pattaya just had a brutal knockout win in Australia, which was phenomenal. I'm a massive admirer of Jai. So the New Year's got off to a flying start, and I think we're all pleased to be back at work, aren't we?
We are indeed. Obviously starting with this fight, Adam Azim, who you've known since the debut, probably before, talk to me about how he's developing, not only as a fighter but outside the ring as well.
Yeah, I think he's developing really well. He's 22. I spent a lot of time with him in my Sky days, obviously. I spent a bit of time with him recently. I think he's maturing. I think he's had a really important sort of, a few months before the Hara Davis fight, where he's done a lot of work on himself in the gym. I think Shane is super pleased with him at the minute. I think the Hara Davis fight was a difficult one for him because they're mates, and that's always hard. But he's ruthless in the ring, Adam. And I thought his footwork and his jab and his body shots were terrific that night. And he got the rounds in too. So I was really impressed with the way he dealt with that. The fact they went out and had a Nando's afterwards is nice. And I think 2025 is a big year for Adam Azim. I think this is a tough opponent in Sergey Lipinets. He's a good fighter. He's been in, obviously, with elite men like Boots Ennis and Mikey Garcia, coming off a win over Robbie Davis. So no one can be taken lightly at this stage. But you've got to think Adam's speed, his attitude, his freshness, his determination. I'm not sure Lipinets would have seen anyone like Adam Azim. Lipinets will come to fight, so I think it'll be exciting. But I think Adam can make a statement here. Becoming the IBO world champion is a big stepping stone, and it's a way to announce himself on the global stage. And I think that's what 2025 is about. Making sure the likes of Turki Al-Sheikh and others are keeping their eye on young talent that's coming through from Britain. And Adam Azim is right up there as one of the very, very best.
Just want to touch on Saudi. Obviously, you're out there for Fury Usyk. What do you think Tyson Fury's sort of going through right now, dealing with defeat for the second time in a row? How do you think he's going to be handling this?
Yeah, it's tough for Tyson. I thought Tyson boxed well on the night. He'd obviously trained extremely hard. He was in Malta training, actually. We spoke to people out there who saw him train, and I know he locked himself away. I'd spent some time with Usyk in camp, so I knew how he was looking, and his dedication is phenomenal. He could be a professional swimmer. We know about his balancing skills, the 3.5-minute rounds of sparring, and just a machine, as well as obviously the southpaw talent and being a phenomenon as he is. But I thought Tyson trained really hard for the fight. I thought he boxed well, and I thought some of the rounds were close, especially early on. Alexander won it down the stretch. He was just too good down those later rounds, and I thought the cards were wide. I thought it was maybe slightly closer. I thought Usyk won the fight, maybe 2 or 3 rounds, but a lot of those rounds were tight, and I can understand Tyson's frustration at the end, and people seeing the fight a little bit closer than it was. But Usyk, for me, proved himself as the king. I think he already did in the first fight, in a slightly different way in the second fight. I thought his footwork was phenomenal. I thought he attacked Fury, and I thought his combination punching was great. But Tyson boxed well as well, and maybe he didn't land quite as many, but I thought it was a really good effort from Tyson Fury, and there's nothing to be too worried about, really. He lost to Usyk over 24 rounds. 2 defeats. against the best guy, and as Alexander said, Tyson Fury's the best guy he's been in with, and they shared 24 rounds together. So Tyson's got to look at AJ, surely. That's the big fight. It's the fight that everybody's wanted to see for so long. It's the fight that makes sense for the pair of them. Tyson could look back and say he gave everything against a very, very good fighter in Alexander Usyk. Take his hat off to him. And if he believes he won both fights, then that's what he believes. And I think he'll be back. I think he'll just love the whole attention of an AJ fight. And let's have a couple of them in 2025. And Tyson Fury's been amazing for boxing. So has Anthony Joshua. It's time for the two of them to meet. It makes perfect sense. Both of them have fought Usyk twice. They've come off the wrong end of the stick on 4 occasions. Nothing was embarrassing. There were 12 rounds each time. It shows the fine margins at the top level. But Usyk's proved himself. I think he proved himself in May last year as the pound-for-pound king. He's just cemented that. And Tyson Fury will be dealing with it. He's faced much harder things in his life. He'll be back, I'm sure, and I'm sure he'll fight AJ, and we'll love the build-up and the fights, and there'll probably be a couple of them.
When you look at Fury and Joshua finally happening, hopefully this year, do you look back, and I asked Johnny this question earlier, do you look back and sort of think, if only we'd got it 4 or 5 years ago? Or we know in boxing, it takes sometimes a long time. Is it more important, like better late than never with this fight? Not that I think, most people would say they're not completely past their best, but as Khan Brook happened, that got, the attention of everyone. Is it important we get that this year?
Sport's all about characters and storytelling and the build-up and the anticipation, particularly in boxing. So, of course, we would have loved to have seen AJ and Fury go at it a couple of times already. We got Mayweather-Pacquiao too late. We got Khan Brook too late. But we still got them. We never got Lewis and Bowe. We never got Hatton and Witter. We never got Calzaghe and Froch and many, many others. I just want to see the fight. And I think it's important because there's not many fights out there that casual fans will really tune into. Obviously, your Ben Eubanks, maybe. And maybe one day your Adam Azim and Dalton Smiths. But there's not too many big British fights out there that the football fans will engage with. Like the Froch Groves history and that sort of year was wonderful, wasn't it? We can still do that with Joshua and Fury. Okay, AJ's coming off a loss, but before that he was in good form. Fury's coming off a defeat by 4 rounds on the judges' card. Some felt it was closer, so they can both fight, and they're heavyweights. They can both fight now. 2025 is, of course, we would have liked more, but we're going to get this. We've got to get this. This is time. It's a plea. It's a plea to everybody to get this fight on finally. And I think that what I do know, because I was obviously involved in my Sky days, is that Anthony and Tyson have wanted this fight for a very, very long time. And there were a couple of occasions where it really nearly happened. One in particular, I remember that AJ wanted the fight and Tyson was on the phone and I was speaking to him, and I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't. And there's managers, there's promoters, there's TV companies, there's always difficulties, and unfortunately it didn't at that time. But this is the time now. This is the chance. This is the fight that the British public still wants to see. If you go down the streets and you ask who people know in boxing, they're going to mention Tyson Fury and they're going to obviously mention Anthony Joshua. Okay, so they're different personalities. The build-up will be immense, unbelievable, fun, and that's what it is. It's entertainment. We're all watching Misfits, even if some of the hardcore fans are sort of doing a bit of that. We're all watching it. It's there's something for everybody, and with the new generation loving the YouTubers, and some of the sort of older hardcore thinking, oh my God, we really want the big fights. And Vidal Riley saying up there about how he was caught betwixt and between a little bit, and he wants to be taken as a serious fighter. I get it. Well, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are the two heavyweights of our British generation. Yes, Dillian White, Derek Chisora, there have been others, but these two are the standouts. That AJ, a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, would have been been 3 if he'd beaten Daniel. Tyson Fury would have been 3 if he'd beaten Alexander Usyk. These are 2 guys that are going to go down in sporting history for our country. So let's get it on. I'd love to see it at Wembley. Maybe they'll want it in Saudi. Let's get 2 of them done this year. Let's not mess around. Joshua Fury, Fury Joshua, however you do it, because they're the 2 names that people out there still know. And that's really important for our sport.
So lastly, Adam, February 22nd, I'm sure you'll probably be out there again, hopefully, for Dubois and Parker. What's your thoughts on that fight?
I love it. I love the fight. I spent a bit of time with Daniel towards the back end of last year when he got back from Brazil, and was really hoping that his team, Frank Warren and the guys, would agree to fight Joseph Parker. Joseph wanted the opportunity. He was waiting around. I think he'd had a few months where he was just sitting about, really, after having a real rhythm going on in Saudi with the big wings over Wilder and Zhang. He's got a great relationship with Andy Lee. Daniel's now with Don Charles. Both of them have got real momentum. Yeah, Daniel will be favoured to win. He's the younger guy. He's the one to beat, really, I suppose. But Joe Parker is not an old fox. He's not old yet. I spent a lot of time with Joe recently as well. He's really, really keen on this fight. He really believes he's going to win. I think it's a fantastic fight for the heavyweight division on the best card I think I've ever seen. And having been in the sport a long time, that's a pretty big call. And there's been other big ones. Don King's put on a lot of huge nights before. We've had big ones here. Frank Warren's Full Monty and huge Eddie cards. But I think this really, you got to don your hat to Turkey, Al Sheikh, and the whole team that have got this over the line. Bivol Bateviev and the whole card. It's just fantastic, and I really can't wait for it. But yeah, Dubois and Parker is brilliant. It's what we want to see. And please give Martin Bakole a big fight. He deserves it in 2025. I don't need Billy Nelson to keep saying it. We want to say it now. We're all in boxing. We want to be there for the best fights, and Martin Bakole deserves his chance. So I want to see him get a massive fight this year. Agit Kabayel's there. There's so many heavyweights on the scene. Moses Atama is impressing everybody. But I tell you what, we're going to really enjoy Dubois and Parker. And maybe if Dubois comes through it, he fights Usyk.
Hopefully. Adam, appreciate your time, and thanks for talking to Pro Boxing fans.
It's a pleasure.